Welcome to Hope Academy. My name is Mr. O, and today I'm going to be going over specifically numbers 23 to 25 on the ST2 practice exam that's provided from CollegeBoard. I provide the link below just in case you want to access this exam. But for today, I am specifically going over number 23 to 25, and I usually do the questions real quick and I explain in depth how to do the question. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so for number 23. Okay, so for number 23, my final answer is E, and now I'm going to explain to you how I was able to do so. So for number 23, the important thing you must remember is that this is a concept based on what we call the unit circle, okay? And the best way, this is more of like a terminology or conceptual based understanding on this question. And so when I was thinking about this question, I thought about the unit circle, and they tell me that sine theta is going to equal to 0.57. And so that's done under assumption that within this currently 0 through 90 degree domain, my sine is going to be positive. And I have to remember that sine does represent what we call the y-axis. I mean, not y-coordinate or y-value, okay? So usually this is in terms of x and y and such. And so what happens is that they mention afterwards that what would sine pi minus theta will equal to. And so when you think about this type of question, you'll have to understand that if I start here and it's going to be 0.57 and I start up here and I'm going to shift 0.57 up. So technically, let's say 0.57 is here. And then I'm going for starting from 180 and then now they want me to shift 0.57 or subtract 0.57 up here. The idea is that if you think about it, my y value is going to be the same. It's not going to change because even if I started this area, my x value or cosine value would become negative. But my y value is still equivalent based on the distance that currently exists on this circle. And so that's how I was able to get to the answer E in the end. Okay? Another possibility or another way that I perceive that you could solve this question in case you forget or have trouble conceptually understanding this is that I could actually solve it out in a way. So I could actually do sine negative 1 of my 0.57 and duly note that it looks like this is going to be in radian format. So make sure on the calculator put in radians and get the value. And whatever this value in the end will be for my theta, this is going to equal to theta. Whatever this value theta is going to be, I could plug it into here and plug it into the equation right here and solve for it. And what's going to happen is that you're going to get the exact same answer, which is going to end up being E. And that concludes my explanation for number 23. To continue on, so for number 24. So number 24 is right here. Okay. So number group of 10, 60%, 2 people are selected right from this group that neither person. Okay. 6 out of 10. So 10 times 3 for 9. Okay. So we'll go ahead and do that. 4 out of 10 times 3. Oops, divided by 9. 0.1333. So my final answer for number 24 is going to be A. And now I'm going to go ahead and explain to you how I was able to get to this answer. For this question, this is a statistical based question. So for number 24, the thing I need to remember is that this is a statistics based question, and what they told me is that amongst 10 people, that means 60% have brown eyes, right? 60% have brown eyes. This is the same thing as me saying that 6 out of 10 people currently have brown eyes. And they said that they randomly selected 2 people. That means that they selected 2 people that I am not going to replace or put back into the pile and reselect. Okay? And they said that what's the probability that neither are brown eyes. So currently, if I have 6 out of 10 people that have brown eyes, that means that 4 out of 10 people do not have brown eyes. Okay, and they're asking me what's the probability that I selected 2 people that do not have brown eyes. That means the first person, if I had 10 people, the first person I select, there's a 4 out of 10 chance that exists because the first person I selected, there's 4 of them currently that do not have brown eyes. But the second person, when I select them, be aware that I already took out the first person that has brown eyes. So I need to be aware that I'm subtracting 1 or taking 1 out of 4, so it'll be 3. But that also means that I also take out 1 person from the 10 total people, and there are 9 left, and I multiply them together. And when I did that, 4 out of 10 times 3 over 9, I get 0.13333. If we look at the choices for number 24, my final answer would then be A. And that concludes my explanation for number 24. And now to continue on to the last question. So for number 25, okay, so for number 25 it states this. If kx minus 2, okay, got it. So I'm going to use a scratch paper just to help me for space-wise. 8 4k 24 minus 8 is equal to 0. So these cancel out. Okay, so for number 25, my final answer is going to be A. And now I'm going to explain to you how I was able to get to this answer. So for number 25, the concept that this is based around is actually called the remainder theorem. Okay, so I'm going to write it down, the remainder theorem. And I actually do cover this in the math lessons portion in my playlist for this channel. So if you want a more thorough and in-depth explanation, feel free to look at that video. But the remainder theorem, the basic idea is that when I use this factor x minus 2, they're saying that this is a factor of this when I divide it. Okay, plus 12x minus 8 divided by x minus 2. And that basically my remainder is going to end up being equal to 0. And one of the practical theories behind remainder theorem is that first, I'm going to take the denominator and make it equal to 0 so that x equals to 2. Afterwards, what I can do is I'm going to plug 2 into this equation. And I'm going to make this equation equal to 0 because remainder theorem tells me that if I have a factor, times k, plus 12 times 2, and I'm going to continue explaining right after this. So basically, when I plug in 2 and 2 here, all of these values have to equal to 0 in order for x minus 2 to be a factor. And so that's the wonderful benefit about this theorem, because this is going to help me solve it real quick. And what happens? 8 minus 8 is going to cancel out. 4k plus 24 equals to 0. Subtract 24. And what's going to happen is that it lets me solve out for k. And then I'm going to move up so you can see what I'm doing. K equals to negative 6. And that's how I was able to get to the answer A, which is going to be the answer for this question, so quickly. And so be aware that remainder theorem lets me prove, or is a theorem that lets me prove whether or not certain factors or certain denominators or divisors and whatever not, dividing values, could be, a potential factor or not. And thus how I was able to get to this answer so quickly. And that concludes my explanations for today. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll continue to make more content and continue on to specifically numbers 26 through 28 on this. So please do subscribe to our YouTube channel or like our Facebook page so that we can continue to make content like this. I hope you have a wonderful day.